Stanley Kubrick was an American film director, producer, and screenwriter, celebrated as one of the most influential and innovative filmmakers in cinematic history. His films are known for their technical precision, unique visual style, thematic complexity, and meticulous attention to detail. Kubrick's body of work spans genres, and he tackled a wide range of subjects, often pushing boundaries in storytelling and film technique. Here's a look into his life, style, and films. Kubrick was born on July 26, 1928, in New York City, to a Jewish family of Austrian and Romanian descent. He showed an early talent in photography, which led him to become a staff photographer for Look magazine at 17. His work in photography deeply influenced his visual approach to filmmaking. In his personal life, Kubrick married 3 times. His first marriage, to Toba Metz in 1948, ended in divorce after 3 years. His second marriage, to dancer and artist Ruth Sobotka, also ended in divorce after about 2 years. Kubrick found lasting love with his third wife, German actress Christiane Harlan, whom he met on the set of his 1957 film Paths of Glory. The couple married in 1958, and they had 2 daughters together, Anya and Vivian. Kubrick also became a stepfather to Christiane's daughter from a previous relationship. In 1961, Kubrick moved to England with his family and eventually settled in a secluded estate in Hertfordshire, where he would spend the rest of his life. His reclusive nature led to numerous rumors and myths, with some attributing his withdrawal to his intense perfectionism and desire for privacy. Kubrick was known for his relentless perfectionism, often taking years to complete a film. He maintained tight control over his productions, sometimes shooting scenes dozens of times to capture exactly what he envisioned. His passion for cinema also extended into technological experimentation, including the creation of custom lenses and cameras for unique visual effects. His films often explore themes like human psychology, existentialism, violence, and the darker sides of society. He had a distinctive style that included symmetry and framing. Kubrick famously used symmetrical compositions and one-point perspective, giving his films a striking and recognizable visual style. Innovative camera work. Kubrick's films featured revolutionary uses of the Steadicam, special lenses, and experimental camera techniques, notably in Barry Lyndon and 2001, A Space Odyssey. Long takes and tracking shots. Many of Kubrick's films use extended takes, tracking shots, and slow zooms, creating an immersive and often unsettling effect. Attention to detail. Kubrick was known for his perfectionism, often requiring numerous takes to get a scene exactly right, and his films are full of detailed symbolism, color choices, and layered visuals. Stanley Kubrick, one of cinema's most influential directors, created a relatively small but powerful filmography known for its technical mastery, thematic complexity, and often dark, satirical perspective. Here are some of his key movies. Fear and Desire 1953, Kubrick's first feature-length film, an experimental war film that he later distanced himself from, considering it a failed project. It explores the effects of war on a group of soldiers. Killer's Kiss 1955, a low-budget noir film about a washed-up boxer who becomes involved with a dancer, leading to dangerous confrontations. Kubrick handled multiple aspects of the production, honing his skills. The Killing 1956, a heist film that follows a group of criminals attempting a racetrack robbery. Known for its non-linear narrative structure and gritty realism, it put Kubrick on the map as an emerging talent. Paths of Glory 1957, a powerful anti-war film that examines military hierarchy and the horrors of war, starring Kirk Douglas. It was praised for its uncompromising realism and moral complexity. Spartacus 1960, This epic historical drama starred Kirk Douglas and remains one of Kubrick's few studio-controlled films. It showcased his ability to work within a Hollywood system, though he later distanced himself from it, as he sought more creative control. Lolita 1962, an adaptation of Vladimir Nabokov's controversial novel, Kubrick's version of Lolita was restrained by censorship yet still managed to convey the provocative themes of obsession and morality. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb 1964, a dark satire on nuclear war, Dr. Strangelove is a brilliant black comedy that examines Cold War paranoia. Peter Sellers starred in multiple roles, adding to the film's surreal humor. 2001, A Space Odyssey 1968, widely regarded as a cinematic masterpiece, 2001 redefined science fiction in film. Its ambiguous narrative, groundbreaking special effects, and philosophical themes left a profound impact on the genre and influenced future filmmakers. A Clockwork Orange 1971, based on Anthony Burgess's novel, this dystopian film explores free will, violence, and societal conditioning. The graphic violence and provocative themes led to controversy, but the film's style and storytelling are considered groundbreaking. Barry Lyndon 1975, a period drama set in 18th-century Europe. Barry Lyndon is known for its use of natural light and candlelit scenes, achieved with special lenses from NASA. It's celebrated for its painterly visuals and precise recreation of the period. The Shining 1980, adapted from Stephen King's novel, this psychological horror film has become a classic. The Shining explores themes of madness, isolation, and the supernatural, with Jack Nicholson's performance and Kubrick's iconic visual style leaving a lasting mark on horror cinema. Full Metal Jacket 1987, this Vietnam War film examines the dehumanizing effects of military training in war. Known for its intense first half, it's considered one of the most authentic portrayals of the soldier's experience, both in and out of battle. Eyes Wide Shut 1999, Kubrick's final film, starring Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, explores themes of desire, fidelity, and the hidden dimensions of human psychology. Released posthumously, Eyes Wide Shut was met with mixed reviews but has gained a more favorable reputation over time. Kubrick passed away on March 7, 1999, in his sleep, due to a heart attack at his home in Hertfordshire, England. His death came just a few days after completing the final cut of Eyes Wide Shut, a psychological drama starring Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. The film was released posthumously later that year, adding to the mystique surrounding both Kubrick's work and his sudden passing. Stanley Kubrick's influence on cinema is immeasurable. His relentless pursuit of perfection, groundbreaking visual style, and exploration of complex themes have inspired generations of filmmakers. From 2001 sci-fi innovations to The Shining psychological terror, Kubrick changed the way genres are approached and redefined the role of the director in creating a distinct cinematic experience.